Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing the long-awaited braid tutorial. This is my most requested hair tutorial of my entire existence. So it's really funny to me because this is a hairstyle I used to just wear to bed so that I could have waves the next day. And then one day my hair was really greasy, so I threw it into 2 braids so that no one would notice, and you guys went wild. You loved it, and ever since then, every time I wear it, you guys are always asking me for a tutorial. So I figured, let's go ahead and do that. Let me finally show you how I do it. I promise it might come across a little complicated, but it's really very easy with practice. It's one of those things where you just have to try and try and try, just practice. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'll show you exactly how to do it from start to finish. I hope that it makes sense. I hope that it's helpful for you guys. And yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Okay, so I always start the braids with my hair down and my hair parted exactly down the center. And then you want to make sure that your hair is damp. So if your hair is dry, then use some water to just spray it down. What I like to do is do this after I get out of the shower, so I let it dry about halfway so that it's quite damp still, and then I put the braids in, and then I get to skip the dampening step. And then my hair is clean. I did wash my hair this morning, but by the time I got to filming, it's a little more dry than I like it to be, so I'm gonna go through and just give it some sprays real quick, and then once it's damp, we'll get started with the braiding. So you want to make sure that you dampen your hair at the roots too, like at the top of your head, because we're going to be starting the braids right on the front of the scalp. And if it's damp and more wet, then it's easier to grab the hair, and it also helps tame the flyaways. And then the other benefit of having damp hair is that if you do choose to sleep on this or keep the style in for several hours, when you take it out and it's dry, your hair will be very wavy. And that's, you know, kind of the 2-for-1. So make sure that you brush your hair out, you know, after you dampen it. And then you're gonna wanna just run your fingers down the back of your head to get a part down the back. And you can obviously use a comb or something to do this to get it to be exactly straight. I never really care what the back of my head looks like with this braid, so, you know, it's a casual look anyway, so it doesn't bother me if it's not perfectly straight. So I just use my fingers, and then you have your 2 sections of hair on the sides, like this. So brush out your 2 sections, and then take a hair tie of some sort and just tie off the side of the hair that you're not gonna be braiding first, just to keep it out of the way. And tie it as close to your scalp as you can, really, because you want to keep the hairs in the back of your head tight so that you don't grab them by mistake when you're doing the other side. So I just do this nice and tight over here, and then you have this beautiful pigtail. So after this, you're going to move on to this side, and this is what we're going to be focusing on. So now that your hair is brushed through and damp, you're going to just start with your fingers, and you're going to run your opposite hand from that side. So for me, this is my left side, this is my right hand, and I'm gonna try to make this as simple as possible for you guys, because I know that it can get confusing with left and right. But I'm gonna take my opposite hand and I'm gonna run it just next to my part here up through. So I'm gonna take about this much hair. I would say it's about maybe 1.5 to 2 inches of hair. And this is gonna be where we start the braid. So you take this section, you get it smooth, and then you divide it into 3 parts. So I always hold the first section with my opposite hand, and then the other 2 sections with my other hand between my fingers in a way that I can easily grab them. You know, like I said before, this takes practice, so I promise it gets more simple, and you kind of just have to go with what feels right for you. So I'm going to take my first section and cross it over the middle section and grab it with my holding hand. We'll call this the holding hand, and we'll call this the braiding hand. So I'm going to take my braiding hand, and I'm going to take the section that was dropped and a little more hair, smooth it out, and put it in my braiding hand. Now I'm going to take the last section in my holding hand and flip it over the center section, and then grab it with a finger from my braiding hand. So it's just crossing back and forth. So now from the holding hand, you're going to grab more from the back of your head, and you're going to just smooth it out. Keep holding it, and now take the braiding hand section that you built over here and cross it back over the middle and drop it. Now I'm going to take my braiding hand, grab more hair, and then take the back section that we created and bring it over the middle. So this process is just switching back and forth. So you just grab more and you cross it over. And each time you drop your hair in the front or the back, you just pick up more hair with that, and that's how you create the braid. So then you just keep crossing it over. So it's cross, build, cross, drop, build. And I'm saying build in as in grab more hair and build a thicker section. So I'm gonna turn my head for this and try to give you guys the best view possible. I'm gonna try not to talk during it, so as you'll see, I'm just gonna continue pulling from the back of my scalp where I created that part. So once you get down to your ear, you just keep pulling from hair. Just take all the hair that's hanging down, because the rest of your hair is still tied up over here. So all of this hair on this side of your head is fair game. And you wanna keep pulling hair from that and crossing it over. And make sure that you pull it really, really tight. So now I'm at a point where there's very little hair left hanging down, and I'm going to gather it all into the section that I have hanging and ready to be folded. So I'm going to take the front and cross it over, and then take the back and cross it over. And now there's no more hair to grab, and we're down at like the regular basic braid. So I have my 3 sections here already divvied up and built and everything ready to go, and I'm going to just continue crossing them down until I get to the very bottom. And throughout this braid, I've been pulling it tight after each cross, and that's very important if you want like this style of braid that I'm doing. This is not a loose braid by any means. So I'm just going to continue pulling it tight and crossing over all the way down. And then as you get to the bottom, my hair starts getting smaller and smaller, and you just keep braiding it really small. And this is where you have to be careful, because the sections of hair get really tiny, so you just gotta kind of use your fingers to keep them crossing. And then once you feel like it's just too much, you would just want to take a little hair tie. I like these little tiny black ones because they're just very small and they don't distract from the braid. So, and I just tie those around until they're tight. And I always tie it with 2 hair ties, because my mom always taught me that, you know, these are tiny little elastic hair bands and they can break, and she always uses 2, so I always use 2. And yeah, so you just want to tie it off with 2 to give it that extra security, just in case one of them does snap during the day, then you're prepared and your braid's not gonna fly out. So, and that's braid number 1. It's done. So, you know, sometimes you get little things like this that hang out on the end, and so I'm gonna have to grab a bobby pin and from another room, and we'll pin that afterwards, but it's really no big deal. If your braid is messy, you just pin the stuff down. So we'll get to that after. Let's go ahead and do the other side. I feel like my hair has gotten a little bit drier, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it just like another quick spritz just to liven up the dampness again. You know, like I said, it's much easier to braid it when it's damp because you can grab the hair. It kind of sticks together a little more, so it's just easier for me if it's nice and damp. So that's dampened, and now we're gonna do the same thing with our other hands. So I'm gonna take the opposite hand and I'm gonna run it next to the part and pull out a section of hair. So here's my section I'm gonna start with. This is gonna be my 3 sections. So you wanna divide this into 3. Now that I have my 3 sections in my 2 hands, this is now my holding hand, and this is now my braiding hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my first section and I'm gonna cross it over the center. And then I'm gonna grab the part that fell and make a new little section that's a little bit bigger. Hold that. And then I'm gonna take my holding hand and cross it over the center. And then I'm gonna use the part that just crossed over, and I'm gonna build a bigger section, which is the new back section. And I know this sounds really confusing, but it is quite simple once you practice. It's just a matter of grabbing more hair and crossing it over the center on each side, and you just flip off. So like I said before, it's just cross it, build it, cross the other side, build it, cross the other side, build it, and then so on for the entire braid. So for this side of my head, I feel like in order to get it to move the way I want to, I always tilt my head like this when I do it, and for some reason that really helps me. So definitely play around with different things and different positioning of your hands and your head to see which gives you the best results for you. For me, if I don't tilt it, my braid comes out kind of strange. So I'm gonna tilt it like this and just try to talk to you this way. So I'm gonna continue to just build and cross, build and cross. And remember to pull it tight after each one. And now I'm just gonna tie this off with my little hair ties. And there we go. So that's done. And now I have both braids done and tight, and this is literally it. So let me go grab some bobby pins so I can pin down these little pointy parts, and then we're pretty much good. Okay, so I've grabbed 2 bobby pins here, and I'm gonna start with this one because it's easiest for me to see in my viewfinder. And I'm just gonna, let's see here. Please excuse me while I don't look at the lens. I'm gonna just take my bobby pin pointing down. I'm gonna grab the piece that's poking out with my bobby pin, and then I'm gonna just push it straight into the braid. So underneath the braid, you wanna push it straight down and hide it under that braid. And then it's all hidden. You can't see the pin, you can't see the bump, it's just all in there. No one's gonna notice. You're gonna know it's there, but it's perfect. No one else will know. Then I do have another little piece over here that I believe is popping out, so I'm gonna do the same thing with this bobby pin. I'm gonna grab the hair that's poking out with the pin, and I'm gonna push it straight under the braid. So that's it, that's the braid, it's all done. So now I can just go out and do whatever I wanna do, or I can stay at home, I can go to the gym. That's what I'm gonna do after this. I'm gonna go to the gym, my hair's gonna stay in place, it's gonna look awesome. So tonight I'm gonna go to sleep with this in. Tomorrow I'm gonna let it out and let it be all wavy. I'll make sure to post a picture to Instagram in the morning so you guys can see the actual results. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you did. Let me know if this is helpful, or if you're still confused, or whatever it is. Definitely give it a try before you throw in the towel. It's really, really worth giving it a try. So I hope you guys like it. If you happen to do this hairstyle with the tight braids, definitely take a picture, tag me on Twitter, Instagram, anything like that. Let me know. I wanna see your photos, I wanna like them, I wanna just talk to you guys about it. So anyways, I'll see you next time. Love you all so much, and yeah, bye.